ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MPI-AZ virtual GMID webinar. Now, a few words from Tiffany Higgins, MPI Arizona Sunbelt Chapter President.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to MPI Arizona's first virtual Global Meetings Industry Day. I'm Tiffany Higgins, MPI Arizona Sunbelt Chapter President. And while we're not able to meet in person yet, it's my pleasure today to bring our community together virtually. Yes, we are meeting differently this year, but it has not changed the passion of our people in the meetings and event industry. If anything, it has only served to make us stronger. I've seen our community quickly pivot over the last few weeks and find new ways to keep our meetings going during this time, all the while continuing to motivate and serve others in order to keep us all connected. After all, meetings mean business. We will be together again, and I look forward to that time. Since it's technically happy hour, I encourage you all to grab your favorite beverage and enjoy the presentation. Now I'd like to introduce Penny Alphen. She's our Vice President of Finance and the chair of today's event. Penny?
Greetings. In hopes many of you were able to join Canada's global meeting event today, where they were trying to break the Guinness World Record. And it looks like they might have done it. 17,000 plus people were on that call today. Nicely done. Global Meetings Industry Day was created to be an international forum for awareness for the meetings and events industry. Each year, event professionals from around the world come together to raise the collective voice. And this year in Arizona, we were going to be at the Arizona State Capitol with many of our other industry leaders and organizations. One voice. But due to unforeseen circumstances, GMID 2020 is very different. Based on the advice from the World Health Organization, bans were put in place to keep us healthy and safe. But we will meet and come together to celebrate via GMID virtual. Thank you so much. And back to you, Tiffany, President of MPI Arizona Chapter.
Thank you, Penny. And yes, things have certainly changed over the last few weeks, and I'm so glad we were able to take this and go virtual today. Now I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Roger Rickard. He's the guy organizations call when they need to advance their influence. And as founder of Voices in Advocacy and author of 7 Actions of Highly Effective Advocates, he works with all types of industries and organizations that want to ensure their advocates are educated and actively supporting their mission. Smart Meetings Magazine did a cover story on Roger's work. Successful Meetings Magazine named him one of the 6 people worth watching in the meetings industry. And Meetings Today named him to their inaugural list of meeting trendsetters. He is the recipient of several international meetings industry awards and is a member of Meeting Professional International's prestigious Community of Honorees. Roger, casually known as the big guy with the bow tie, is joining us from the Video West studio in Phoenix, where he will be presenting his message in the room where it happens. Over to you, Roger.
Tiffany, thank you very much and welcome. You know, connecting as community is more important than ever today, and we recognize the essential relevance meetings play in successful society. I'm coming to you live from the studios of Video West, distancing myself from crew and cameraman. So today we are trying something new. So please understand and bear with us if we have a few minor little technical glitches. We're going to do our best. So we're also going to intersperse my presentation with a few different segments. First, you will meet the producer of today's event from Video West, where he will describe how we put on this live virtual event. Then we will touch base with a few Arizona Sunbelt MPI chapter leaders for some updates on what's going on at MPI during this crisis. And as you've seen, they are observing physical distancing from their homes. And at the end of the event, Tiffany will be back to offer a toast on Global Meetings Industry Day. So be prepared to raise a glass. You know, in these uncertain times, I have been reminded of the wisdom of the great Charles Dickens novel, A Tale of Two Cities. Quote, "It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness." Dickens goes on to say, quote, "We had everything before us. We had nothing before us." When it comes to this uncertain time, when we are all scrambling to adapt to the change around us, we need to be reminded of proactive activities you can do now to affect your advocacy success in the future. You know, we are certainly experiencing rough times, no doubt about that. We're traveling on rough roads with an uphill climb back to the mountaintop. This is where we are as an industry and a nation as we observe the 2020 Global Meetings Industry Day called GMID. Now I wanted to share with you a few frightening realities. On March 24th, Tourism Economics did an economic impact study that projected 5.9 million job loss in the tourism ecosystem alone. Now, with that, that will result in a 7.1% unemployment rate in our tourism space. It will also result in a $62 billion loss of federal, state, and local taxes. Folks, the economic loss could total $810 billion. Now let's take a look at Arizona. In Arizona, we have statistics on the weekly travel spending in millions of dollars, and this was done and produced and out just about a week ago by Tourism Economics. And it says that on February 15th, there were $411 million spent that week in Arizona alone in tourism. Literally 6 weeks later, April 4th, 2020, that was down to $62 million. That is an 86% change in spending. And I wanted to also share with you some numbers that I received this morning from the Transportation Security Administration. The TSA checkpoint traveler numbers. And they are, on March 1st of 2020, we had about 2.3 million people getting on airplanes within the United States. Fast forward 6 short weeks, and we were, let me rephrase that. A year ago, on April 13th of 2019, we had almost 4.5 million people get on a plane. Yesterday, 102,000 people got on an airplane. That is a 96% drop in people getting on planes. Quite devastating. So the current state of our industry is like a jigsaw puzzle. All the pieces of the industry have been dumped out onto the table. Hotels, restaurants, DMOs, DMCs, meeting planners, and the like have all been dumped onto the table. What do you do first to begin building the puzzle? So when I get a puzzle like this, I look at the cover. I look at the photo or the picture on the box. You know, in a crisis, it's like we don't have a picture to work from. But slowly, we will begin finding one piece at a time, and we will connect that to another, and then to another, and another. And in time, we begin to see the picture come into focus. Piece by piece, we will rebuild the puzzle of our industry. When we do, I predict that our meetings and events will be at first small gatherings, using more meeting space than the previous standard norms to help with the social and physical distancing. Furthermore, I believe we will start with local meetings, small workshops, and seminars, thus avoiding travel. Think and act local, sharing a common spirit. This will be the temporary new normal. And it is like this pandemic has placed a huge detour sign on the world, on our industry, and on our livelihood. But like any detour, we will find a new route, a way to get around this detour that has disrupted our society. We've actually done that today by being virtual. You know, in the past, I've used this image to portray that our industry was the invisible industry, that people did not think about meetings, and they surely did not know who produces them. Well, that is no longer the case under our new current pandemic. People know that meetings have been canceled and that large gatherings and events, exhibitions, and trade shows have all been brought to a halt. But we know now, and now most Americans know, that meetings mean business. They mean jobs, education, revenue, spending. Handshakes? Nah. How about elbow taps? But they all mean business. And that's vitally important that we remember that in this time of crisis. APCO Insight conducted a poll and released their findings on April 3rd. And they were asking what Americans are saying about in-person events during the COVID-19 crisis. 8 in 10 who are working from home say they miss in-person events. That's 8 in 10, 80% of the people out there miss getting together face to face. And 78% say they plan to attend as many or more when the threat of COVID-19 passes and it is safe to do so. I want to share with you this website, meetingsmeanbusiness.com. You can go there to get a lot of resources about what is happening in the industry today, and I suggest that you go there. And another one, I would suggest that you go to the MPI site. MPI has provided you with a tool that MPI has placed online. Now they have links to the Event Industry Council, to Meetings Mean Business Coalition, to U.S. Travel, to the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization. Make sure you check it out. And then here's a link to U.S. Travel. And maybe I need to move just slightly here. Hold on. There's the full link for you to see. On the COVID-19 CARES Act relief package. Now, the CARES Act is the largest economic relief package in our nation's history, and it was signed into law on March 27th and includes major provisions U.S. Travel and coalition partners fought to deliver economic support to travel businesses, to our workers, and to their families. So make sure you take a look at this site. It's a fabulous toolkit for you to look at. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change, Charles Darwin said. Darwin has a pretty good theory about the outcome for those who cannot adapt to the changing circumstances. But wait a minute. I have to level with you. I have to tell you the truth. Darwin didn't really say this. In the 1960s, a professor at the Louisiana State University wrote this in a text regarding Darwin's beliefs. Darwin never said this quote, but it's great because we must be reminded and we must respond to our current change. Speaking of change, let's talk about what we're doing right here, right now, today. We are here at Video West National Headquarters near downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Video West provides LED video walls, projectors, cameras, microphones, lighting, staging for the entire event industry. But what they're doing here is a little bit different. And to tell us a little bit more about that, please welcome Video West Vice President of Marketing and Business Development, Troy Peters, CTS. Now, I want you to know we have kept our distance, like
Absolutely.
10 feet, like a 10-foot pole here. Welcome, Troy.
Thanks
Glad
for
to have
having
you
me.
here
I'm
today.
Glad to be here.
Thank you for all you're doing for this. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions. So, tell me what's happening behind the scenes as we're doing this live and they're really just seeing this video shot.
Yeah, so it's pretty fascinating, and I'm actually calling the show as we're doing this, so I'm going to pop this off as the guys are still talking. But we, as you said, we produce the live event. We do the big in-person things that we're all such a strong part of. But what we were able to do, just because we saw this coming, or we saw this coming as early as the rest of us, but we were able to quickly put together a virtual studio. So this is a studio at our headquarters here in Phoenix. Has an LED wall, a little bit of staging, a multi-camera setup. You can even see we've got teleprompters on the cameras, so you can come here and talk directly to your audience, allowing you to have that face-to-face presence with your attendees for your virtual event. But the amazing thing is that in this studio, there are only 3 of us. There's myself calling the show, a camera operator, and a sound technician. We have a control room just outside. You'll see it in one of these pictures up here, where they're basically switching this show and sending it anywhere in the world.
So what's fascinating is this didn't exist before this crisis. You put this all together now
Correct.
to adapt
Yep.
to the change that the industry is going under and what you're
Absolutely.
dealing with as far as not being able to travel to do all the large shows.
Correct.
So with that in mind, give me an example of something that you've done here already.
Yeah, so just a couple of weeks ago, we've been producing the Arizona Dental Association's annual event. It's an in-person event, several thousand people here in the Valley. If you could advance one more slide, I think I've got a couple of stills of what that looked like. But backstage in our green room, we have a couple dozen computers, and each of those computers was able to work as a breakout room. So we had 7 breakout rooms go over the 3 days, had almost 3,000 people attending virtually, which was amazing. We've streamed a couple of rooms or a general session before in the past, never seen those kinds of numbers. So to know that taking these in-person live events to a virtual platform is actually something that works. It was amazing to be a part of that.
And you did that all right here in the studio.
We did that all here in the studio.
But most of the presenters were not here at all.
Correct, yeah. Everybody was presenting from all over North America. We even saw attendees watching from overseas, which I don't know if they could get that kind of traffic in person, but it was amazing to see.
That's great news, and it just shows you the power of being able to adapt. Troy, thank you very much, and thank you Video West and the entire crew here today for everything that they're doing on behalf of the meetings industry.
Thank you, Roger. I'll put my other hat back on and see you later.
Yeah, we'll catch you at the end. So, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Voices in Advocacy. Like Video West, I too have donated my time today as a show of support for the meetings industry. So let me share a little bit about us. At Voices in Advocacy, we help grow your community of advocates, turning them into influential champions. Influence is too valuable to lose, and wasted opportunities can never be replaced. Did you know that most leaders struggle with the time and resources to inspire, train, and activate their advocates? You're not alone, and we're here to help. We help you survive and thrive in a chaotic advocacy world. So go to voicesinadvocacy.com to learn more. we'd glad to have you aboard. So I titled this program In the Room Where It Happens. I did that because we've always been in the room where it happens, but yet right now we're not. But I wanted to tie it together with Hamilton, that great American musical that is all about the life of our American founding father, Alexander Hamilton. It's with music and lyrics and the book by Lin-Manuel Miranda. You know, Hamilton has won just countless awards. It received a record-setting 16 Tony nominations and won 11, also won a Grammy, also won a Pulitzer Prize for drama for the writer Lin-Manuel Miranda. If you've not seen this show, I highly suggest that you do. So we know that the most influential place to be when decisions are being made is in the room where it happens. So take a second and listen to this.
No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one really knows how the game is played, the art of the trade, how the sausage gets made. We just assume that it happens, but no one else is in the room where it happens.
No one else is in the room where it happens, but we are the people that put the people in the room where it happens. Today, virtually, hopefully tomorrow, face to face. And we know from history that society has been built on our ability to meet face to face to solve problems, educate others, and advance our society. There are many, and I mean many, great examples. Take a look. So when we meet, we change the world. Just a couple days ago, someone posted that on a social media posting and asked people to point out the meetings that have changed their lives. And the responses were just simply incredible. I think this is one of the best pieces that MPI has ever put together, because now more than ever, when we meet, we change the world, face to face or virtually. And you know, with that, we have a great story to tell. Meetings have a great story to tell. You know, they're the economic engine, they're a major tax generator, they're adult education, job training, knowledge transfer institutions. They drive sales revenues, they attract buyers, and they support other businesses. The ecosystem of the meetings industry is a vitally important link to society. In politics, there is a saying, if you don't have a seat at the table, you are on the menu. And believe me, you never want to be on the menu when there's a group of politicians and elected officials sitting around. So we must do something to make sure that we are not on the menu today, tomorrow, and in the future. So here's what we know for sure. With little influence, we have a low profile. You could reverse that. With a low profile, we will have little influence. We are vulnerable. Right now, we're vulnerable to all the government regulation. Now, granted, it's the right thing to do, but this is the example of how quickly we could be vulnerable to government regulation and to any policy decisions that are made, whether they're made at the city level, a county level, state level, or at our federal level. We know we need to have more influence. So we need to grow our influence. Now I would like to bring in a few MPI Arizona Sunbelt chapter leaders and have a little Q&A with them, if you will. I'd like to first invite in Melody Volkers, who is the current president-elect of the chapter. Hey, Melanie, how are you?
Hi, Roger. Hi, Roger. I'm doing great.
Oh, so there you are. You're outside. You're in the great Arizona weather, and you're sleeveless, so that anybody that's watching this from around the world knows that when you come to Arizona in April, you get incredible weather, don't you?
100%. So I took this working from home to working in my backyard.
What a great concept. We all should practice that every once in a while. So I have a couple of kind of serious questions for you. So what educational opportunities is MPI providing its members during this crisis?
So, Roger, many chapters, including our own, are offering virtual meetings at no cost, at least for the near term, to both members and non-members, so that everybody gets the value of that educational component that MPI is known for. The MPI Academy has opened its vault, so to speak, and is providing free webinars, again, to members and non-members. All of their on-demand webinars are also complimentary. And in addition, all scheduled webinars through the month of August will be offered at no charge. In addition to those webinars, they've gone ahead and discounted all of their certificate programs through the remainder of the year. There are varying discounts on those because there's just different price points on those certificates.
So they're available to members and non-members as well?
Yes.
Isn't
Members
that...
and non-members, showing the value of MPI. Now more than ever, MPI needs to support our industry.
So you can go to MPI.org and track all these things down as great resources for you. And we know, with the time that we have today, because we're not near as crazy busy as most meeting planners are, that you have some time to catch up on your education. It's a great time to do that. But let me ask you, if you're catching up on your education, do you get the CEU credits that you can earn for your CMP with these courses?
Absolutely. These are all eligible for those CEU credits. So whether you're going for your CMP the first time or need that continuing ed to recertify, these will definitely apply towards and give you those CEU credits. So it's a great time to take advantage for sure.
God, you could rack those credits up like crazy right now. And so if you don't have your CMP, now's the time to be able to work on that, correct?
Absolutely. Professional development. It's right now, if you're not investing in work, we should be investing in ourselves.
Boy, I couldn't have said that better. Melanie, thank you very much. Now, continue to enjoy the sunshine and the outside, and we'll get back to you at the end of today's program. I'd like to now, bye-bye. I'd like to now bring in the Vice President of Membership, Donna Robinson. Donna, are you there? There you are.
Hi, Roger.
How are you today?
Great, thank you.
How come you're not outside?
I should be. I know I saw Melanie sitting out back. I should be out back by the pool.
Absolutely, you know. Hey, listen, I've got a couple of serious questions for you because you're in membership, and right now during these times, there always seems to be some questions about membership. If my membership was due this month or the next, and I had been furloughed or I'm out of work, can I maintain that MPI membership?
Absolutely. One of the big goals for MPI is we want to keep you whole within MPI and keep you getting the support and the benefits of your membership. So MPI Global has extended a 60-day grace period on the memberships. I believe that's February, March, April, May, for those that are renewing. And they also have put together some relief packages for those that may be furloughed or out of work at this time and their membership is coming up for renewal. And those relief packages include breaks on membership due to financial hardships or payment plans, installment plans to help you work through your membership during this difficult time.
Wow, that's very considerate. And we all know that as we're going through these difficult times, there will be people that will need to take advantage of these programs. Now, are there any other help that members can get during this time from MPI?
There are a couple of, for those folks that are not members of MPI that have joined us today, we do have $100 off on your premier membership for GMID Day. There is a code, it's MPI GMID20. And you could get that. There's some other renewal benefits for members. If you are able to pay your membership and are not in a financial hardship, there are some discounts available to you. You can either email help@mpi.org or you can call them directly to discuss a specific relief package or renewal. And that number is 972-702-3053. Or again, email help@mpi.org.
Wow, great suggestion. So now you've got some resources out there. Go to help@mpi.org, or let me repeat that phone number one more time. That was 972-702-3053. Donna, thank you, and thank you for all the volunteers and everybody that's working so hard within the chapter to keep things moving during these, well, trying times, huh? So I'll see you at the end of today's program.
We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now as we move on, I want to take a look back to January of 1989 and the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, addressing the nation for the last time from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. I'd like you to watch this important 1-minute excerpt.
I never meant to go into politics. It wasn't my intention when I was young. But I was raised to believe you had to pay your way for the blessings bestowed on you. I was happy with my career in the entertainment world, but I ultimately went into politics because I wanted to protect something precious. Ours was the first revolution in the history of mankind that truly reversed the course of government, and with 3 little words: we the people. We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car, and we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we the people tell the government what it is allowed to do. We the people are free.
What a great segment from his final address in the Oval Office. And to remind you, he said, we the people are the driver. The government's the car. You hold the keys to your government. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the preamble of the United States Constitution. It begins with those 3 simple words: we the people. You know, it doesn't begin with I the king, or me the president, or we the Congress. It begins with we the people. Reagan said, we are the driver. The government is the car. We hold the keys to the car. So as we do that, let's take a look at the Bill of Rights. They were adopted immediately with the Constitution, and in that, we look at freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press. You know, these are all encompassed in the First Amendment. Let's look at the First Amendment, and you will see that Congress cannot establish a religion, interfere with your choice of religion, limit free speech, limit free press, limit the right to assemble, and limit your right to petition the government. Now, I've highlighted that last line because that's really important, because Congress cannot limit your right to petition the government. The actual verbiage says, quote, petition the government for a redress of grievances. Redress, when used as a verb, is defined as to set right, to correct or reform, to remedy or relieve, to adjust evenly again. All of those things give us the option to speak out and to talk to our government about what concerns us the most and how we can right the ship. But I don't want you to just simply focus on the federal government. Here is a pie chart. It's a pie chart of the 538,000 elected officials in the United States. And you know, when you look at this on the right, you will see that from the top to bottom, it lists the president and vice president are 2, Congress at 535. Now it's 435 for the House and 100 for the Senate. So that gives us a total of 537 people at the federal level. But when you scroll down and you look and you get to where the local governments are, there are 529,000 elected officials in the United States. So as you look at this pie chart and you look at it, you can't see anything but 2 segments. You see the local elected officials, and then you see the 7,300 that are state legislature. That's the only 2 things you can see. You can't even see the other segments. So I don't want us to forget about government at the local, county, state level. They are vitally important as well. So I wanted to share with you what that actually looks like. You know, Margaret Mead, the great American cultural anthropologist, said, and I quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Think about that. It only takes a small, committed group of citizens to make a difference. So you may be asking, okay, so what can I do? What do I do about this? Well, you know, dealing with the virus is one thing, but being prepared to make sure that we're defending and protecting our industry down the line is as important today as it was yesterday, as it will be tomorrow, and tomorrow's tomorrow. So what can you do? You know, a few years back, I wrote a book, The 7 Actions of Highly Effective Advocates. Now, today, I only want to talk to you about the 5 actions of highly effective advocates that are appropriate for our times. So the first action of highly effective advocates is to believe. First, you must believe you can make a difference with the action that you take. You know, I could share with you, if we had more time, plenty of examples of other people who are just like you, ordinary citizens that have actually gone out and changed things and have made a difference on their own, one person at a time. But I wanted to share with you kind of a personal story. You know, when I was 18 and a half years old, and that might have been a day or 2 ago, I decided that I was going to run for elected office. And at 18 and a half years old, I petitioned, signed up, got my name on the ballot, and I was running against a man who had been in office longer than I had been on this earth. He had been in office for 22 years. So I did all the things that you're supposed to do. I went out, I worked door to door, I canvassed the neighborhood. I went to the houses where people were registered to vote and voted regularly. And I looked them in the eye and I told them who I was, how old I was, and what I thought I could do to help them today. At the end of the night, I won by 5 votes. Now, I share this story with you not to talk about me, but to rather to prove to you that anybody that would overcome such odds as I had in that campaign can succeed if you take that first step forward, if you work hard, if you put in the time, if you're honest and open and willing to share your personal story, you can make a difference. So that was the first of the 5 actions I'm going to share with you today. That was believe. The second of the 5 actions that I want to talk to you about today is to be informed. Be informed. Guess what? You're doing that today. By just being on this session, I'm sure that there were some statistics that I threw out earlier that you didn't know about yet, and some links to more information for you to get to be better informed. So thank you for being here today, but more importantly, stay informed. Continue to practice that. Learn as much as you can about your craft. Take advantage of the fact that MPI has that education offering available to you for free right now to build up your credits, to get your certified meeting professional. And take advantage of learning what's going on in our country today. This year we have a very important election coming up, and it is incumbent upon you to be vitally involved and informed about the election. So the second of the 5 actions I'm sharing today are be informed. So the third action of being a highly effective advocate is your ability to discuss the issues. Now, this is sometimes where people get a little squeamish. They say, you're not really supposed to talk about politics. But it's not necessarily talking about politics. It's really talking about our government and about what we expect from people at a time like this, in a time of need, in a time of crisis. So don't be afraid to discuss the issues. There are a lot of virtual hangouts that are happening right now that give you the opportunity to share what's going on in your industry at this time. I highly suggest that you join in on those. I have a few myself, and they have been incredibly informative and make me feel the comfort of staying connected at a time when we physically can't be together. So don't be afraid to use the third of the 5 actions of highly effective advocates, and that is to discuss the issues. Now, the 4th action of highly effective advocates is to get on the record. Speak out. Call, write, or meet, when we're allowed to, with elected officials. I'm going to expand upon this for just a minute, but I wanted to share with you the great Louis Armstrong, Satchmo of New Orleans, who said, if you don't toot your own horn, there is no music. This is where you come in. This is where you can make a difference. This is where your horn can play for others and to support others. So don't be afraid to speak out. I also want you to be willing to share your story. It is your personal story that matters. How often have we seen politicians talk about, I got a letter from so-and-so the other day and they wrote. Politicians love to tell the stories of their constituents. And you need to give them that opportunity to share your story about your industry and what's happening in your world today. And so with that, there are going to be a couple of calls to action coming up here. But I first want to set the stage. And by setting the stage first, I want you to know that U.S. Travel is proposing for the fourth economic stimulus, they are proposing some amendments. The first thing that they're proposing is expanding eligibility for the payroll protection program to destination marketing organizations that are classified in the tax category of a 501c6 nonprofit. That's going to be important, and I'll explain a little bit more here in a second. Second, they want and pushing to appropriate another $600 billion for the payroll protection program and extend the coverage period, because currently it's set to expire on June 30th. Let's expand that through till December. Third, raise the payroll protection maximum loan calculator. Now this might be getting into the weeds, but we need to raise it to 8 times the business monthly outlays and allowing it to cover both payroll and non-payroll expenses. Currently, that formula is at 2.5 times and covers only payroll, no other expenses. And for businesses to survive right now, they probably need that additional push. And then finally, increasing the economic injury disaster loan funding to $50 billion, raising the loan cap from $2 billion to $10 billion, and allowing for a second relief disaster loan if the business is still unable to meet its ordinary expenses. So that was an awful lot of meat, but I'm going to make it easier for you than that right now. Through U.S. Travel, they have the Power of Travel Coalition, and this is one way that you can speak out. So we talked about phase 3 of the coronavirus legislation, known as the CARES Act, and it was a good starting point. And it offered many in our industry much needed relief and aid, but it wasn't enough. So many of the DMOs and CVBs are unable to access all of that aid and relief in the CARES Act. So let's ensure that these vital industry organizations are protected. Write, tweet, and call your members of Congress now. Now on the screen, you can see the URL link to this. This is an incredibly easy process. You go to the link, it clicks in, it will ask you your name and address. Now it needs your address to be able to match you to the proper member of Congress. When you do that, you'll have the opportunity to create your own story in there. And when you do that, it will automatically send it to the email boxes of your 2 U.S. senators and your member of Congress, the House of Representatives. So please, earmark this, write this link down, and use it, because we need to take action to continue to defend and protect our industry. Now, the 5th action of the highly effective advocates is to be a resource. Now, by taking the action I just asked you to do, that is being a resource. That is sharing your story. But let those in elective office also know that you're a subject matter expert, that you know a tremendous amount about your industry. So whether you're a meeting supplier or whether you're a planner in this particular industry, let them know that you can help them understand what happens in the industry better. Because they need to understand so that we can reopen business at the right time, doing the right measures, and we can get back to business and back to face-to-face. So, don't forget, the 5th of the 5 actions of highly effective advocates is be a resource. But as they say on television, wait, here's more. I've got a bonus one that I want you to do. It is an important election year, and I want you to make sure that you are registered to vote. So whether you're in the state of Arizona or any other state in the United States watching this today, go into your web browser and type in register to vote in whatever state you are in. By doing that, that'll give you the link to usually the state the Secretary of State's office in your given state and will tell you what the process is needed to register to vote. Make sure you're registered, and please, please make sure you vote. Because see, if you don't, you're giving me and every other voter out there the power to make your choice for you. Your choice is our choice. Or better yet, our choice is forced on you. It's your choice. So with that, let's go over a couple of more things. Often people say to me, but Roger, this is all about being, isn't this what a lobbyist does? Well, while a lobbyist does this, I wanted to review what they really do quickly and go over that. First, they get a bill killed. Second, they amend a bill to make it more acceptable. Third, they amend a bill to make it unacceptable. They push hot buttons all along the way. And then they form alliances. So with that, let me share a little story. I remember when I got my driver's license. And if I can remember it, I'm sure you can because I'm old. But I also remember when my son got his driver's license. And when he got his driver's license, the first thing he wanted to do was take the car out. So he said, Dad, can I have the keys to the car? Now, logically, what's the first thing I want to do? I want to kill it. You're not getting the keys to my car. No. You don't have enough experience. But what if he'd have said, Dad, I want to take Susie to church. Has he just amended it to make it acceptable? Sure. How can I tell him no? But what if he said, hey, Dad, Johnny just got out of jail for possession? No, that makes it unacceptable. And all along the way, is he pushing hot buttons? Sure he is. 2-year-olds and teenagers are best at pushing hot buttons. And then what happens if I say no? If I say no, he forms an alliance with his mother. And I know you were thinking that out there. He goes to his mother, and she doesn't want her car to go, so they work together as an alliance to make sure it's my car that goes. That's how simple the lobbying process works. That's what you as a citizen have the power to do just as well. So you as a citizen, a few years back, I learned that Teddy Roosevelt is my cousin. So I have to add a quote for my cousin Teddy. And he said, quote, the government is us. We are the government. You and I. We are one industry with one voice, and we will rebuild stronger and higher than ever before. Like the cocooned caterpillar who transforms into the beautiful butterfly, we will emerge in a new form, stronger, more beautiful than before. As we deal with physical distancing, I am reminded of the power of the human spirit. I believe we will find strength in our humanity. We will be kinder to others, be more empathetic to the plight of others, pray for the sick and elderly, thank those that stayed on the front lines to serve and protect, appreciate the power of family, rediscover our role as citizens, not spectators, while realizing the power of our vote and the importance of mayors and governors. We will recover our silent voices about the role of government performs for the people and better understand the role it plays in our lives. And finally, we will not take for granted our freedom of movement or assembly or our freedom to meet face to face. When the light at the end of this tunnel shines bright, we may find that our human spirit has regenerated into a larger, more compassionate organ. When our doors reopen, we will be a different society with a different human spirit. I believe in the power of our humanity and the strength of our spirit. We will carry on. Stay home, stay safe, stay connected. I thank you. And now back to MPI Arizona Sunbelt Chapter President, Tiffany Higgins.
Thank you, Roger, for being our speaker today and for your wonderful presentation on how we can all be highly effective advocates for the meetings industry. I'm not sure if any of you were asking any questions, but due to time, we don't have time to get to those. So I wanted to let you all know that this is being recorded and that we will be reviewing all the questions after the event, and we'll provide an answer either directly to you or via our social media pages. I'd like to send out a huge thank you to our sponsors today, Video West and Troy Peters and their team for volunteering their time today to host our virtual Global Meetings Industry Day. It was awesome. Thank you guys so much. Again, I want to thank Roger and Voices in Advocacy for speaking to us today. I'd like to thank our MPI Arizona leadership team, Penny, Joanne, Melanie, and Donna. They all worked hard to help make this possible today. And most of all, I want to thank all of you for attending our first virtual MPI Arizona Global Meetings Industry Day. One last thing I would like to share with you guys. I know many of you know our next education event is scheduled for May 14th, but right now we're currently working on alternative plans for that education program. So please stay tuned for more details to come in the next few days. So as we prepare to say good evening, I'd like to propose a toast to, so grab your drinks, everyone, and I'd like to propose a toast to our health, the health of our chapter, and the strength of our community to rise up and make an amazing comeback. Hear, hear.
Cheers.
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 Until next time, stay healthy and stay connected. Can't wait to see you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.